My name is Laura Miller, and I'm a mother of one incredible boy named Ethan. He's 12 years old, curious, creative, and sometimes a little too independent for his own good. When I say independent, I mean that he often tries to do everything on his own without asking for help, even when he clearly needs it. As a single mom, I've always admired his resilience, but sometimes it worries me too. What happened one ordinary Saturday morning changed how I saw him, and myself, forever. The sun had just begun filtering through the blinds of our small house in Austin, Texas. I had planned to do laundry and finally sort through the mountain of papers on the kitchen counter. But as I walked past the living room with a cup of coffee in my hand, I noticed Ethan sitting on the carpet. His tongue was pressed against the corner of his lip, his brows scrunched together in deep concentration. In front of him was an old cardboard box, rolls of tape, markers, and a bunch of mismatched parts, gears, strings, even a broken fan motor I didn't recognize. At first, I thought he was just doodling or making a mess. But then I realized he was building something. He looked so determined, so focused, that I froze in the doorway and just watched him. He didn't even notice me standing there. He was mumbling to himself, "If I can just get this to spin, maybe it'll work." Curiosity pulled me in. I sat down quietly on the couch and watched for a few minutes. Ethan was trying to build some sort of machine, a small contraption with spinning wheels that looked like a robot skeleton. His hands moved quickly, but clumsily. He tried tying wires together, but they wouldn't stay. He tried taping pieces of cardboard, but they kept collapsing. Every time something fell apart, his shoulders slumped a little more. I felt a pang in my heart. He was entertaining himself, yes, but I could also see his frustration. It reminded me of when he was little and tried tying his shoes for the first time, refusing to let me help until he finally broke down in tears. The urge to step in, to lend him a hand, grew stronger. I set my coffee down and said softly, "Hey, buddy, what are you working on?" Startled, Ethan looked up, his eyes wide.
Mom.
I was just trying to make something you weren't supposed to see yet. Why not? I asked, smiling. Because it's not done, and you might laugh. That broke my heart a little. I leaned forward and put a hand on his shoulder. Ethan, I would never laugh at you. I think it's amazing that you're doing this. Can you show me what it's supposed to be? He hesitated, then sighed. It's supposed to be a car that moves on its own, like a remote control car, but without a remote. I was going to surprise you with it. Something inside me swelled with pride. My son was trying to invent something complicated for me. And here I was, almost walking past him without noticing. I smiled and said, "That's incredible, Ethan. But maybe would it be okay if I helped?" He frowned, clearly torn. "You'll just take over." I shook my head.
No.
"I'll only help if you want me to. You're the boss. I'll be your assistant." That seemed to soften him. He smiled shyly and nodded. "Okay, but don't laugh if it doesn't work." From that moment, we became a team. Ethan explained his vision, and I listened carefully. He wanted the little motor to power the wheels, but he didn't know how to connect everything securely. I suggested we look through the garage for stronger materials. Together, we dug through old storage boxes and found small screws, hot glue, and wooden sticks. Ethan's eyes lit up when he saw the glue gun. Back in the living room, he directed me like a little engineer. "Mom, can you hold this piece while I line it up? Okay, now glue there." I followed his instructions, letting him lead. Every time something worked, even something small, he beamed with pride. And every time it failed, I reminded him that failure was just part of inventing. Hours passed. The laundry sat untouched. The stack of bills remained on the counter. But I didn't care. Something more important was happening. I was reconnecting with my son in a way I hadn't in months. Between work, house chores, and life's endless demands, I had been missing out on these moments, the quiet, messy, beautiful ones where children reveal who they really are. By mid-afternoon, our car was still far from perfect. It wobbled, the wheels squeaked, and sometimes the motor didn't even spin. But when it finally moved an inch on its own, Ethan jumped up and shouted, "It worked! Mom, it worked!" He hugged me tightly, his little arms squeezing around my neck. I laughed and hugged him back, tears prickling at my eyes. I'm so proud of you, Ethan. Later that night, after Ethan went to bed, I sat quietly in the living room, staring at the half-finished car. It wasn't about the invention. It was about the fact that my son had let me into his world. I realized then that sometimes when kids entertain themselves, they're not pushing us away, they're just waiting to see if we'll notice, if we'll care enough to join them. The next morning, I woke up to Ethan already at the table, tinkering again. He looked up and grinned. Hey, assistant. Ready to help. And I realized I didn't just lend him a hand that day. I gained something far more precious. Time, connection, and the reminder that even in the busiest seasons of life, the most important thing we can build is our relationship with our children. That Saturday started like any other, but it ended with a memory I'll carry forever. What shocked me wasn't the invention or the moving wheels. It was how much my son still needed me, even when I thought he was fine on his own. And I promised myself I'd never overlook those moments again.